I actually don't think the landscape of nutrition has ever been so bad in terms of misinformation. Anyone can call themselves a nutritionist. A lot of people want to take a quick fix solution still. Everyone wants a pill to make it better, but nothing will be as powerful as eating food.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Jill Spills. This week we are spilling the tea on all things nutrition. Today I am joined by the founder of Rhitrition, the very lovely Rhiannon Lambert. Hello.
Hi, oh gosh, I'm so excited to be here, Joe. Honestly, just driving through this area as well. I was like, oh, we're going to do this.
And the sun is shining today.
It is. It's a good day.
Well, thank you so much for joining today. I'm very happy you're on Jill Spills. So today we're going to talk about all things nutrition, myth busting, all the stuff out there, a little touch on menopause, and of course your brand new book that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. But first of all, just for all my guests to know, tell me a bit about yourself.
Okay. Gosh, where to start? Thank you. First of all, I'm really excited about the new book. So I founded the Rhitrition Clinic, which is a clinic that specialises in a variety of areas. Back in 2016 now, I think, 15, 16, on Harley Street. And we have gut health dietitians in there, sports nutritionists, weight management, fertility, pediatrics, you name it. We've got a huge variety of specialisms in the clinic. So my bread and butter initially was clinical work, seeing clients one-to-one, and I graduated with a first-class degree in nutrition. I did a master's in obesity risks and prevention and went on to do actually a lot of work in psychology and nutrition and got a master practitioner in the psychological interventions into disordered eating, because I have this huge belief that what we do every day with food is linked to how we feel about it, how we see the world of food, because we've all got experiences that date back to childhood. And I'd really felt unequipped actually with the skill set to work in clinic until I'd embarked upon that master practitioner. Yeah. It gave me such an insight. And I think my journey since then, there was no Instagram, by the way, when I started university.
Of course, yeah.
So I was on Twitter back in the day. And there are only 5 courses in the UK that actually did nutrition. So it's amazing to see the interest now. I'm a registered nutritionist, which means I'm held accountable for what I say. Everything has to be above board. I do professional development, so I study every year to keep that registered title. Yeah. And today I've got a podcast, Food for Thought now, which is 7 years old now, I think.
Is it really?
I think it's 7 years old, which it blows my mind. I feel like COVID's been a kind of time warp. I'm a mum, I'm a nutritionist, and I love what I do. And the new book, The Science of Plant-Based Nutrition, is actually my 5th nutrition book, and it's out this June. So it's been busy, Jill.
It does sound it. And you've got the 2 lovely little boys as well to deal with as well. Gorgeous.
Got my babies, and actually they inspired me, my first in lockdown, to create my supplements company, Rhitrition Plus, because I was looking for something out there, and I didn't love anything that I was seeing. And I'd had this problem in clinic for years. So in COVID, actually, that's when Rhitrition Plus was born. So the boys are, they're my world.
So what changes have you seen, developing, good and bad, over the last few years with what's been put out there with nutrition, what we shouldn't be doing?
Where to start?
Yeah.
That is a very good question. I was actually discussing this earlier, and my team and I were discussing it the other day. I actually don't think the landscape of nutrition has ever been so bad in terms of misinformation. Yeah. We've got this amazing tool at our fingertips where we've got access to anyone around the world, all sorts of information, which can have benefits. But the problem there is the misinformation. And as I said, nutritionists, it's not a protected title. Dietitians are protected, but anyone can call themselves a nutritionist. Yeah. So there's lots of people online that aren't regulated, spouting off all sorts of trends and nonsense things. And I know we were speaking before we went on air about some bizarre drink concoctions I was commenting on in the press last week. So I think things have actually got worse, but at the same time, what I do like about nutrition is the emergence of research for gut health, which has been amazing to see. And it's still in its infancy. I think the misconception is that everyone knows everything about it. We don't. Yeah. It's still really early days, and it's being communicated to the public, which is great. But I love that science is now so accessible to so many people.
So do you think, with saying a bit about the gut health, is that where a lot of people are starting to jump on the bandwagon and saying, let's take this, take that, take this, because it is saturated, because you've got Instagram and TikTok. Even for myself, you're looking on and you get so overwhelmed with what actually is the right thing to do. And then you almost kind of don't know who to believe.
I know. And I think instinctively a lot of people want to take a quick fix solution still.
100%.
Nothing's changed. So everyone wants a pill to make it better
Yeah.
or to make it go away, or a shot or something that's
Yeah.
going to do the benefits. But nothing will be as powerful as eating food. So food comes in its own food matrix. That's what we call it. So I often use the example of a carrot, or let's mix it up today. Let's use a potato.
Okay.
So a potato has over 150,000 maybe individual properties that are incredible inside, and it's what we call its food matrix, and it's designed to be eaten as a potato. But what do we do in the world of food today? We take extracts of potato in powder form and we make a product up, and it's called an ultra-processed food, and we manipulate it, and then we expect to still get the benefits of eating a potato in this product that's labelled to contain essence of carrot or potato, whatever it may be. So we've kind of got ourselves into a predicament where we are always looking for something that's going to fill the void of just eating food in its original state and cooking at home. That's where I think a lot of the problems now come in with the current health of the UK, for instance.
Why do you think that? Why do you think people don't want to get back to cooking, and like, why do they just want to go for the easy option? Because it's too accessible, maybe? Or
Well, it's a really difficult question. There's the cost barrier, cost of living, and these ultra-processed items are now more affordable for many people at a glance, and they're more palatable. Like, they're designed to be moreish, and the problem we've also got is systemic in the fact that parents are not passing down the cooking skills to future generations. So we've almost got an entire generation of people that don't enjoy cooking because they weren't lucky enough perhaps to have that handed down to them. And then we're working longer and harder than ever before as well for less money again. So we've got convenience, time. We live in an environment where we're very sedentary, and we're under our mental health. Like, I think we can't underestimate the power of our mind, because when we're low, a huge coping strategy for people is food. And, it's very rare that you have a bout of low mood and you want broccoli. You don't want broccoli.
No.
You want to go for a chocolate bar or
exactly.
your favourite pack of crisps, or actually whatever in childhood was given to you to comfort you. So a lot of people have this relationship with food that stems back to how their parents used to soothe them when they were having tantrums or upset. So it's a wider, humongous problem, and it also goes up to the government. Where does funding go? The food industry is a beast. Like, it's, Coca-Cola own so many brands that you would think were the healthy brands, and it infiltrates all the way down to our care system.
And with the so much food and choice we've got out there, when we're going out, everything's like with protein and things like that. Again, like what should be a balanced diet? What should we really be looking at?
Okay, so you've touched on health halos, is what I call them. So things that people look for in packs that they therefore think make their item healthier. So if you're going to buy a pack of cereal and it says, I'm high in protein, people are more likely to buy that cereal, even though it doesn't make the sugar content any better in the cereal or the fat content in the cereal. So it's still a balanced play. I mean, I must sound the most boring person in the world, but I want to tell the truth.
Yeah.
I'm so bored of seeing all these crazy assumptions online. It's carbohydrates on your plate, the whole grain variety, mix it up, get more plant points in. Let's get some spelt, some pearl barley, some quinoa, some whole grain pasta. Just mix up what you're eating. Let's get some protein, but more plant protein, which I discuss in the new book, because there's a huge misconception that plant-based is vegan. It's not. It just means more plants and less animal produce.
Right.
So instead of having meat every day, people should try and get more beans and pulses. That's good for your gut. It's good for protein still. It helps you live longer. Where's your veg? Where's your healthy fat? A bit of olive oil. That is a balanced plate. That's it. It's a lasagna that's cooked with lots of vegetables in it with some whole grain pasta.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be complicated. It's your, you could do a lentil bolognese or do half with meat if you're trying to reduce your intake. It really is those classic, delicious dishes that we'd order in a pub, but you make them yourself at home without the extra oil, fat, salt, sugar.
And with the food aspect of it, so moving slightly into like supplements. So this is another big thing. A lot of people nowadays, everything is have it in a powder form or a drink, or take like loads of tablets. And me personally can find that quite overwhelming. I'm not a tablet sort of person, but again, you feel, especially with the changes I've been going through, you feel like you've got to get in as much as possible. What are your thoughts on supplements and how can we benefit them in the right way?
I want to be really straight up here, and I know I own a supplements company, but I only sell 4 items because I don't believe that we actually need more, with certain exceptions, of course. The more supplements you take, if you're already at a healthy status, you actually increase your likelihood of early death. Just to put that out there. So the research suggests that it knocks years off your life because what you're doing is loading up the pressure on your body by taking so many extra things for your body to process and excrete, and then you're neglecting the actual benefits you're getting from that food matrix we discussed in the potato earlier.
Yeah.
We need to be eating whole foods in order to have a healthier mind and body. And by loading yourself with powders and concoctions, a lot of the time you're doing more harm than good. So there's a place sometimes for them. You know, in the clinic, we sometimes say protein powder's beneficial here, or, you know, vitamin D, everyone should be taking it in the UK throughout autumn to kind of spring.
Yeah.
And some people all year round, depending on their skin colour, you know, it all varies. But there's very few supplements you actually need.
So what are the 4 main ones that you have?
Yeah, so we've, good question. We have a pregnancy multi if someone's pregnant, which counts for pre and during and post, so throughout that whole postpartum period. Then we've got a plant-based multi for people that just eat vegan food or very limited animal produce. So it contains B12, selenium, iron, zinc, things they actually need that will be harder to get on a plant-based diet. And I have a whole section on supplements in the new book, Jill. Like, I go in there because it's just, I know it's so confusing. And then the only other one is a vitamin D for kids and a vitamin D for adults, because you don't need collagen or all these other things if you're eating a great diet.
The thing, you don't need all this collagen.
No, we don't.
Right?
And also the quality you get online, there's no regulation. So unless it's someone you trust you're ordering from, and a scary stat I've got, without being too doom and gloom, when I was looking into the pregnancy multivitamins, I was working with one of the dietitians in my clinic at the time who actually wrote the guidelines in the UK for the nutrition advice for pregnancy.
Yep.
She was incredible, one of the leads in the UK. We analysed every pregnancy multivitamin on the market. Every single one. We looked at the amount of choline in it. We looked at the amount of folate, everything inside these vitamins. We found a lot of companies just chose to have a huge list with a tick box with small doses that do nothing. Whereas what we did in our multi was have a list of not so many nutrients, because there's no point putting 5 milligrams of choline in a supplement because it won't do anything in your body. If anything, multivitamins compete for a place in your body. So you end up peeing out things you don't need, and you don't get the benefits when the list is that long. So all these green powders you see in lists that are this long, it backfires because your body can't cope with that higher dose in one go. So it's really deceptive. And it was actually quite shocking, the lack of regulation in the supplements world.
Yeah, why are they allowed to do, like, what is the need to have that massive list then? What is it trying to achieve in that respect?
They want you to buy it, Jill.
Literally that.
They want you to, you know, think that you don't need to focus on your diet because you're having your green powder and that's going to do the job. And, do you know, sometimes for some people, if they enjoy a green powder and they do genuinely struggle to eat fruit and vegetables, fair enough, giving something a try.
Yeah.
But it can never be as good as eating food.
So with moving into the book a little bit here, so tell us a bit about it. What is it about? Where, as you say, it's your 7th one, did you
Fifth.
say?
I wish it was my 7th. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. I wish I were that good.
What's different about this book?
So, there's nothing actually out there like it. I don't know if I can show you. So this is an encyclopedia style book, first of all. And I want it to be available for all ages because it discusses nutrition from childhood fertility all the way up to menopause, to aging, to, you know, elderly life. And it breaks down all the barriers and misconceptions surrounding nutrition and especially plant-based nutrients and nutrition. It goes into the science, it explains everything from the connection between our gut to our food, what individual nutrients like iodine actually do inside our body.
Amazing.
You know, so, and you can see the stats on the things that we need. And I've tried to do it in a way that doesn't just dumb it down for the reader because you want to learn.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many books don't give you the actual breakdown of how they got to the point of the paragraph they've just written. Whereas I think everyone deserves access to the latest supplements and advice.
Exactly. And to have a better understanding of it, rather
food labels, how to cook. I even go into there's a whole page on an air fryer, because so many people were making recipes with air fryers, and how to bake with ingredients that, if you are going vegan, what to actually put in your food and what nutrition that gives you.
Really, what do you think? Your thoughts on the new air fryer? Is it a good thing?
It's funny. No, so this is funny. So I had an air fryer about 12 years ago.
Really?
Before they were a big deal. And this is because when I went to uni, my dad, I hope I haven't got the maths wrong there. No, I don't think I have got them. That's scary. Haven't got the maths wrong there. My dad had an air fryer. And because I was in halls of residence, he said, just put this in. It's easy. It means you don't have to worry about everyone else's clutter washing up. And I still got it, actually. I couldn't use it. It's a mess now. But yes, I had an air fryer all those years ago. I actually like an air fryer. I'm going to see if I can find the page on it. But you do need these healthy fats. And I think a lot of people use it to kind of cut down on salt, sugar, fats, which is good.
Yeah.
But oil does have a place, especially olive oil. It's known to be really good for our heart health. It's known to be good for our brain, reducing risks from omega-3s, things like dementia, Alzheimer's, and basically healthy aging is the Mediterranean diet. And we shouldn't fear using oils within our food.
Because that's another thing, isn't it? Oils have been another big thing now as well, hasn't it?
Oh, don't even get me started on oils, Jill. Everyone, 1 minute it was, what was it when we first met? It was probably sugar.
Yeah.
And then, because it had been fat before, then it goes to sugar. And then it was probably all about gut health. Carbs, it was carbs again. Ketogenic diets, low carbs. And then it went through to probably plant milks, oils, and whatever it may be. It's just never ending. Oils aren't toxic. In America, there's a very different food system to what we have here. But what I can say is the scaremongering about rapeseed oil or something, there's just no evidence to back it up, really.
Because that has been quite big, hasn't it, in recent times? And,
huge.
People saying it's really not good for you. And
well, cold-pressed rapeseed oil has a similar profile to extra virgin olive oil in terms of reducing inflammation. That has actually been proven in studies that it's beneficial for us.
Right. And
I can't say that all the products out there have cold-pressed rapeseed oil. So, but even that, the oil content in these plant milks is what, 0.00 something percent? It's like nothing. And the only reason it's there is to help fortify the milks, to add vitamins and minerals for people that need it.
Right.
Because the vitamins and minerals need a carrier. You can't just add vitamins and minerals to water and a bit of nuts, almonds or something, and expect it to just taste good and look creamy and be a nice milk. So it's not bad for you. It's very strange. I find it very strange.
What's been probably with the myth busting side of things? What's been the just so out there and the worst you've heard, and the ones that are like kind of that was true, but they kind of got it a little bit wrong?
There was a pill recently, and that really shocked me, that someone very high profile, not for the right reasons, brought out to eat before you had a bowl of pasta or a bowl of what was the other meal? It's like pasta and cake. I think it was like chocolate cake, to prevent glucose spikes. And I just could not believe what I was seeing, because blood sugar, it's natural to have spikes in our glucose. And this particular individual online she's got millions and millions of followers, was making claims that it's literally what's harming everyone's health is these spikes in blood sugar levels. Whereas actually, instead of saying that, we should just be telling people, try and eat more fiber, just try and eat more proteins and, a healthy diet. Not buy my pill every time you want to eat a bowl of pasta or chocolate cake. That, for me, was the most unethical thing I think I'd ever seen. It was only at the end of last year, it's 2023, or maybe even beginning of this year, 2024, but she brought it out. And I was gobsmacked that she was cashing in.
It's crazy.
And she had no evidence or research to really back it up. And there was a diagram she'd made to look scientific. So people won't know. They'll look at it and there's a line of blood sugar and then there's a bowl of pasta in the background. And there's this pill. And she said, if you eat this pill, this red line doesn't go as high when you eat this pasta. Why not help your audience? Tell them how to eat well rather than sell them an expensive pill. And people are doing it with gut health now as well. People that are doing lots of nice cooking and things on Instagram, and then they release a pill because they just want to profit off you rather than educate you on how to eat well for your gut health, which is very important.
Yeah, can you touch a little bit on gut health? I know that's probably going to open up, but basically, like, give us again like an idea of understanding of how we should work with gut health.
Okay, so the basics. You probably remember me doing this in a talk years ago. Look at your gut as a garden, and you want to plant loads of seeds to get a good balance of what we call good or bad bacteria resides there. We want more good, and to do that, we need plants. More plants. Our gut bacteria love ingesting plants, and then they give off these kind of byproducts, often in gas. This is why when people have a lot of fibre suddenly, they notice a bit of bloating. Yeah. Do it slowly if you're going to suddenly change your diet. They also create short-chain fatty acids, these amazing components in our gut that send chemicals up to our brain and interact, and we make B vitamins in our gut. If we don't feed that gut bacteria, 30 plants a week have been shown by the American Gut Project to be really beneficial for our gut health. And we've also got research from the SMILES trials that says if we eat a Mediterranean diet, it can be more effective than conventional interventions for depression. Wow. So eating plants, eating veg, eating fibre supports our gut health, which supports our mental health, might help regulate our weight, might help us live longer. Honestly, it's this huge emerging world. There's some strains that are really beneficial for helping with things like IBS. There's some research bacteria strains that may prevent travelers' diarrhea. There's a lot of really intricate interactions, and scientists only have touched the surface on it.
Wow.
But with menopause, I know we were discussing this earlier.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about this,
So I've got this in the book, and we have...
Which I love, by the fact that you've touched on menopause, I think is really important, because not enough people are talking about it.
It's awful. And one thing I've also noticed, a lot of people jumping on menopause now, and again, profiting off it by selling powders and potions.
100%.
And that just also irritates me, because it preys on the vulnerable. It's another unethical process. And actually the estrogen lives in our lining in our gut, so there's estrogen receptors there, and when you're going through menopause and you've got dips and troughs of your hormones, you're bound to start retaining water and notice that you're getting bloated. And this is when women often panic. They're like, oh my goodness, I can feel it. It's the natural hormone progression and cycle with the water retention, but this is when women often turn to other things, and then they start to change what they'd always done before, and the problem's kicking. Whereas the best thing women can do is actually to focus on being more plant-based throughout the menopause, to help support the gut, to help just ride it for a while, keep hydrated, all that sort of thing. Eat more nuts, eat more healthy fats. Healthy fats are so important. Be mindful of energy intake. As much as I love nuts and seeds,
of course,
they're calorific compared to, if you're eating nut butter out of a jar, it's very easy to have more than the portion. Let's be honest. I think we all do that. But no potion is going to be able to change what's happening with your estrogen receptors in your gut at that time. And there is some research that hot flushes and symptoms that come along with everyone has different symptoms in the menopause, but lots of women experience that actually eating soy can reduce that up to 200 grams a day. So 2 to 3 portions a day of soy. And that can come from tofu, it can come from soy milk, edamame beans.
Okay.
And that can reduce symptoms as well. And there's a reason that women over in Asia have lower rates of hot flushes and menopausal symptoms than women in Europe.
Right. That's
because their diet is so different to our diet. And most women go on restrictive diets, or they take these powders, or they take menopause formulas and expect that to be doing something, whereas actually it's causing more harm because your body can't cope. It's trying to do so much, and we're just adding to it.
And then obviously we're getting more stress, which the cortisol level increases.
Cortisol causes body fat storage. It's linked to that as well. And stress, as we know, increases inflammation. And if you're chronically stressed, you're more receptive to potentially getting sick, poorly, more conditions happening. It's just a vicious cycle, I think, and it's a really hard mental place. Whereas if you can support your gut health, you increase your mental health, like we said. So I really want everyone, if they take one thing away from this podcast, just try and reduce your animal intake a little bit, get more and more veg, fruit, fibre, nuts, plants in your diet.
That's amazing. Just touching back a little bit on the gut health, probiotics. Are they a good thing to have, or is there more of a natural way, or sometimes we just have to take them?
Do you know, probiotics is one of those areas where it's not a necessity yet. I wouldn't say everyone has to take one, but it can be really beneficial for some people, depending, in the clinic, we recommend a few that actually have research trials behind them. There's a lot of people releasing them now that have no evidence behind them, and it's really annoying. You're better off getting the 4Ks or something in your diet. kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha, kefir. Kefir is so good. Kefir contains a lot of live bacteria probiotics. And you get prebiotics from the vegetables that we eat, the fruit, the fiber, the plants, which feed the gut bacteria. So prebiotic, feed the bacteria. Probiotic is adding live bacteria. And the problem with supplements is you can't guarantee that live bacteria is going to make it all the way back down to the bottom of your gut, the large intestine where they reside all the way down. So probiotics, hit and miss, but some research shows they could be beneficial, but not for everyone.
So with your lovely 2 little boys,
yeah.
So you focus a little bit more with children now.
Yes, I have a whole section in this book actually on child nutrition.
And what are you looking at there, and what you're trying to get people to try and understand for their little ones?
Do you know, it's really difficult because you've got so many elements with child nutrition. They need the right nutrition to grow and be healthy. Yep. Then they need the variety, but that's a very young thing to prevent fussy eating, that sort of thing. They need to be exposed to a variety of tastes, textures, colours. And so many parents just do not have the access to help, information, money to be able to offer kids, especially my age bracket of my kids, if we're talking like under 6, under 5s,
Yeah.
It's a really difficult foodie time because convenience is everywhere in packets.
I was going to say, it must be making it a lot harder.
So hard because and then once you've given them a taste of that packeted flapjack bar or that packeted ginger biscuit or whatever it is that the kids love, those veggie straw things, pouches, that's all they want.
Yeah.
Because it is more palatable. It's designed to...
Sugary as well, I guess, sweetness.
Do you know,
sweetney.
one of the big things I'd say to any parents is try and avoid artificial sweeteners for your young kids' guts. We don't have enough concrete research, but I'm pretty convinced it will come out at some point that obviously it's not good for our gut bacteria, in my opinion. That's an opinion, not a professional fact, but no. I don't think that can be good for children. And then we're living in an environment where the government just is not supporting children. Because if you're looking at how expensive it is now to buy a load of fresh produce, and children waste food. So what you want to do is keep offering, which is what I'm fortunate enough to be able to afford to do. And then I cook something with the leftovers. But if you don't have the cooking skills, you're not used to spending your nights at 9 p.m. over a stove so you've got lunch boxes for your kids the next day. That's not for everyone. Yeah. Then children are predisposed to a poorer relationship with food and a poorer variety of food, poorer gut health. And we're looking at child obesity now. 1 in 4 could potentially soon be 1 in 3. And that means it's harder to lose the weight as they age if they're already overweight at a very young age. Again, because kids are living on ultra-processed foods.
So with the children, do you think schools are helping a bit more? Do you still think there's an issue in the school side of things for nutrition for little ones right up until... secondary?
Yeah, I mean, my experience with my sons at the moment has been mainly the nursery environment. And to be honest, that in itself has been fascinating with the sugar available to kids under the age of 2, which I personally... Actually, the guidance is do not offer refined sugar or, extrinsic sugars, intrinsic, to kids under the age of 2. So, chocolate puddings and things being at nurseries. And I was one of the only ones that opted out. And my son doesn't know any different. He eats sugar now, he's 4. But, it's so interesting how it's become such a societal norm to offer items that are not nutritiously nourishing for our children. And then I think it obviously infiltrates to secondary schools, to primary schools. And there's a difference between state education and private education. I went to a state school and I remember the foods on offer, and looking at a variety of schools now for my kids and seeing there's like no nutrition focus in the same way in state schools than there are in private schools. And it's so unfair. I cannot emphasize enough how the government just has to protect the title nutritionist so people like myself can get jobs going into schools, because there's not enough of us. Yeah. Because otherwise there's no nutritionists going into schools doing anything, and dietitians are swamped because they work in hospital-based settings mainly with chronic conditions, and they're constantly busy in the NHS and private. So it's a big problem. My dream is to get this petition out there this year. I need 10,000 signatures to get the title nutritionist regulated. And then I want to get in with the government discussing, nutritional education for children. And, I went into my son's nursery, but wouldn't it be amazing if nutritionists could be paid to go into schools?
I think that is such a great idea.
Well, I don't know.
We need to do this,
Well,
guys.
let's hope I can. I don't know if I've got the power, but you know,
No.
wouldn't it be incredible just to see our kids actually being put first for once?
Yeah.
That they should be fed food that's going to help the next generation of carers for this planet grow. Because at the moment, that doesn't seem to be a focus on the government's agenda.
Well, hopefully with people listening to this, knowing where it all starts and stems from, we can start kicking yourself with our backing of getting that into schools. Then hopefully we can, I guess, see a change moving forward.
We have to be positive. And also, I know I've mentioned a lot about the younger years. They are so important, which is why I think Kate Middleton actually started backing younger years. And that was her key focus and drive, which was great. But you can't change at any age. You know, you can change your diet at any age. You can change at 10, you can change at 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, you name it. And you will see benefits. I think the gut microbiome changes you see for your gut bacteria happen within a matter of a few weeks if you change your diet. You can notice changes that quickly.
Right.
So it's worth it.
So for the people listening, what would be your basic tips if anyone wants to think, actually, no, this sounds, I want to do this? What should they start doing slowly, introducing, changing?
Slowly start by thinking, right, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Do I eat the same meal every single day? Let's try and mix that up a little bit. Do I eat meat every single day of the week? If you are, you could then maybe go half one day and get more beans and pulses and lentils and things into your diet, because that's going to increase your fibre. And then why not at one of those meals, lunch or dinner, swap your white rice for brown rice? Or swap it for quinoa, which is a complete source of protein, as well as having, you know, amazing fibre benefits for your gut. So you have to kind of do it gradually. Set yourselves little goals each week. This week, I'm going to try a new grain. I'm not going to just eat rice or pasta or bread. I'm going to eat quinoa. I'm going to eat spelt. I'm going to eat pearl barley. Go down the aisle and all these names you probably never heard of or recognise. Buckwheat, you know, freekeh is one of them. These, or freckeh, however people say it. You know, there's always strange grains that actually are more affordable because people don't buy them.
Right, okay.
Buy them in bulk. You cook them in a saucepan the same way as rice with boiling water. Some might take a bit longer. Give it a go. Give it a try. Stock your pantry with cans. You need pans. And pans to cook. But cans was the main goal there, because they're cheap, they're affordable. Lentils, butter beans, kidney beans, black beans, you name it. All the beans just sit there in a can and they last forever, and they're really healthy and good for you in water.
Which you can add into salads.
Every meal.
Casserole, like anything.
Any meal. Yeah. It's amazing. You can roast them in the oven. It's delicious. And just start by thinking, right, I'm going to have one extra piece of fruit. Instead of snacking on a cereal bar today or a bar on the go, I'm going to just have an apple, maybe like a handful of nuts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like just, and then
which
maybe
is easy to get, isn't it? Yeah.
It's about more. It's about adding more, not taking
away.
out, and not spending your money every month on a 50 quid supplement. Or some people spend £100 on greens powders. They're so expensive, and then they become on a subscription, and they won't get the benefits that they would have done if they just ate an apple Monday, a banana Tuesday, blueberries Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like just an oily fish maybe once or twice a week, and if they can't get that, they do need an omega-3 supplement. But
your all that stuff, and it's amazing. If you want a treat, if you want a really nice pudding or a dessert, what's a really yummy? Because I know you do make some, and they look.
I just go for
incredible.
the indulge. You know what? If you want something, I think the best relationship with food is allowing yourself enjoyed items, because then you don't have the craving.
Yeah.
Like, if you want a full sticky toffee pudding with ice cream, do it, and really slow down when you go through that. This is really hard to do, by the way, for some people that are in a cycle of binge eating or in a poor relationship with food. Focus on the moment, really start to mindfully eat, chew your food, enjoy it, enjoy the taste of it, acknowledge it, and then think, right, well, maybe I'll do that again next week. I really enjoyed that. Because actually people that have it once, twice a week, it's fine. It's when chocolate bars become daily.
Yeah.
And instead of a chocolate bar daily, why not mix to chocolate almonds? Start slowly reducing the amount in a different way. And then why don't you do half almonds, half berries or something? And it depends on your goals. For some people, they can eat chocolate bars every day because the rest of their diet's so good. So everyone's so different. But I love an indulgent dessert. I'm a crumble girl. I had a crumble the other night all over.
Love crumble.
I cannot get enough of crumbles. I think I've made so many. And these new oat bars, I'm making loads of them on Instagram.
Yes.
Because they're so easy just to whack in a bowl. I can do it with the kids, 3 or 4 ingredients, and you can take it on the go. It's great for dessert. It's just, I love those types of things.
Perfect. So let us know When is the book out? When can people get this? When is it available?
Oh, it's so nerve-wracking. It's out on June the 27th, and people can pre-order now. Every pre-order makes such a difference, because my dream, Jill, is that we get this book in libraries. We get it free for people in schools. And unless I get enough pre-orders and I get enough books sold, they won't take an interest, and I need to get it fast into those types of outlets. So,
right, you heard it here, guys.
Yes.
Where can people find you? What's your Instagram handle?
Well, sadly, I think I'm everywhere now on social. I've even got a TikTok, Jill.
Yeah,
so,
love a TikTok.
Just Rhitrition, Rhitrition. Just Google Rhiannon Lambert, and things will pop up, and you will find me somewhere. You can find people so easily.
It's true, and that's where they can find to do the pre-order.
Yes, and Amazon, Waterstones, basically any bookshop, you can order it on any bookshop, and it's global, so you can order it if you're in America or if you're in Australia. You can order it.
Love it. It's brilliant. I can't wait. So The Science of Plant-Based Nutrition.
Bring it on.
By ours truly, Rhiannon. Thank you so much for coming on today. That was so, really interesting what you said. I hope people take on board, and hopefully we can start making some changes.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
That was brilliant.
That was so good.
And really informative. I feel like we've got loads in there.
Yeah, God, I'm hot. This is what's happening. The room gets really warm.
Because it's sunny now.
Are you happy with that?
Amazing. So good.